To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth?
No.
Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Yeah.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Torture and burn throat.
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
But
Actually tie up your own arms.
the problem is the teeth thing is something I would agree with. It's not a disagree mark. In this game, you can agree or disagree. If it's blue, it's an agree. You can only agree to it.
That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You
Nah.
couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
That seems like a terrible idea.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs, tying both arms
I gotta
would
try
You
stuff.
couldn't do much with the free... It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Ah, you bastard.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
After I fail it
That's
once, I'll
obvious.
ask
Tying
for
just the
him,
legs is tying both
which is
arms
about
would
to
be
happen.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
No, not that.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth?
God damn it.
Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs, that's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one, tying both arms.
You couldn't do much with the... It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Yeah. Huh.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Okay. Alright, so...
To actually tie up, that's obvious.
Yeah, I need some sort of hint on this one. I don't... Not quite sure what it's asking for, really. I presume it's not something to
We will never give
memorize, because I pretty much memorized everything and tried it. Okay. I believe I figure out which one it is.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Nope, that's not it.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself. To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself. To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
I believe I've tried
You
everything
couldn't
except
do much
burned
with the
rope.
free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Well,
Crap!
I've tried everything on that one, so I guess it's the first one.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Unless it's the oil lighter.
That's obviously impossible!
Or the modicum of
Tying
Thanos.
just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Yep.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Yesterday I was on a roll with this too, and I cannot solve this one. Damn. Final trial is always hard. Something that would prove that he could tie himself. Yeah. Of course it's not. There's no mystery to be had. Did I try duct tape yet?
That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would...
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible.
How about if you use... Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Nope.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Nope.
Crap!
Jeez, I've almost tried everything.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously
damn it.
impossible!
Did I try?
Tying just the legs is one thing,
I
but...
think I did try this,
Tying
but I'll
both
try it
arms
again.
would be in...
You couldn't do much with the. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Yeah, no, I tried that already. Huh. Monokuma obviously isn't going to get executed in this game because he's in the next one.
We will never give up.
So Red, about this trial, it sucks.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Okay,
No,
apparently that
that's
was it. I got it in the end. Oh god, that was bad. That was so
Hold
bad.
on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were.
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms.
Okay, that's what I wanted me to talk
The
about.
rope on his right arm was completely burnt up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
Or was it?
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap.
Yeah.
There's concrete evidence that proves it.
Because he wasn't wet from the sprinklers. His right sleeve.
I see.
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Oh.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
No.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
That's definitely wrong.
Yeah.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
I'm gonna
That's not what I
leave.
meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know.
Yeah, no, that seems a little...
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me! Give me back that Benjamin!
Wait, what?
Hold on.
Yeah.
There should be a way.
Confused.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
What? Way to stab yourself with your right hand using your right hand. You could, like, stand up the knife and slam your hand down on it? Oh, God. Ugh.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If you threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall,
That wouldn't do it.
could he stab his hand that way?
No.
Is he a throwing knife expert?
No. He is lucky.
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
That's how what I'm thinking.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That seems most possible.
The life-sized Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach.
And why there was so much blood.
He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it.
God, Nagito,
If
please
that's
tell me
it,
this wasn't
He
you.
had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
Yeah.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right? If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito.
Yeah.
If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
No.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Kinky. Shut up. Shut up, Kazuichi.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
I hope Kazuichi dies.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
I hate you, Kazuichi. I hate you so much.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For reasons.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out.
Thank you,
Like
Fuyuhiko.
she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand while your left hand is tied up.
Oh. So, fucking Kazuichi is turning into the new Teru Teru.
So you're saying it's impossible?
Not quite.
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right? But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monome's sassing me.
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. So this might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Is it you?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
Funny.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible. I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
As do I.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now.
Everyone working together.
She's right. We've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. And even now.
All right, let's do this.
Alright.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth?
No!
Or maybe he used his front tail.
Shut up!
I know
Akane.
guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
This is getting ridiculous. Wait. Hold on.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
Hold on. Is this one of my options?
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth? Or maybe he used his front tail. I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
How did Nagito... Let's work together.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to... But his left hand was also tied...
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth?
Okay. I could see him using that.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move it, but his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, you're
No,
wrong.
that's wrong!
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange? He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
No.
That settles the description of that bloodstain. But it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
Gripping.
I see!
Gripping
When
the
the blood
wire.
splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm. And the
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild.
I mean, if you want to call that mild. Oh.
He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
What?
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
Precisely. The cord.
I see! That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Precisely.
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
No, nothing like that.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Nagito was gripping the cord extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how could he have stabbed himself in the stomach with the spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
No.
At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan, Nan.
Alright.
One step at a time. What does that mean?
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
Straight
How
down.
it was positioned.
Instead of the spear, and the fact that Nagito was holding the tip of the cord attachment, put those two together and think about it, I should be able to figure it out. Where the spear was in the state of the where Nagito was stabbed. Logic dive! Hell yeah. Let's go. Whoa, hi. God damn it. Okay. Where was the spear just before it impaled Nagito? Above Nagito. Whoa, moving objects. Oh, damn it. Ah, damn it. Keep getting body blocked by these fucking things. Besides the spear, what else was above Nagito? The girder. Jesus, this is getting ridiculous. Didn't know I was playing Jet Set fucking radio. What was connected to the spear and the ceiling guard? The rope in his left hand. Oh no. God damn it. It's the spear cord, duh. Jesus. That was a bit of a rough logic dive.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy.